Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you my favorite tools to work with polymer clay. First up is this tissue blade. It makes perfectly straight cuts. And you can also use it to help remove pieces of clay that might be stuck to your tile. These have UV resin on them, so they get a little bit sticky. You can just slide underneath and they come up real easily. And one of my favorite uses is cleaning off tiles after I bake clay on them or use resin on them. Just look how easy. You can get paint off, resin, pretty much anything. And then I just wipe it down with an alcohol wipe. This is one of my favorite tools. It's a frosting tip that you can find at a bakery store or Hobby Lobby. They're $1.99. I use them in so many different ways. Here's just one of the ways. You can make studs, or you can flip it around and use the bigger side to make round earrings. And you can even shape the bigger side and make your own earrings. It's pretty cool. And this is a piece of either beech or birch wood that I found at Hobby Lobby, but you can use any piece of wood that's at least about 1 inch thick. It's easier to use this softwood though. So I use my Dremel tool to drill holes in all my earrings. This is a Dremel 7300 and it's really easy to use. I prefer doing this over punching holes in prior to baking. So I'll just show you what I do. I know this is called a bit, but I don't know the connector piece. So just put that in, and you can put this on the top over it. You can either do it with the bit on or with a bit off. And then press the blue button to twist it and tighten it. Now it's ready to use. Now I just hold the earring firmly on both sides and then just press down and pull back up. And I always save the pieces of dust and the excess clay that comes off. As you can see here, I keep them in a cup and I either mix them with epoxy or mix them into white clay to try to make different types of earrings. And now I'll show you how I use it in other ways. Sometimes I make holes in my earring cards doing this. I get a stack of 3 or 4. You can even use more with the Dremel tool, and then I just quickly punch a hole through. And that makes it easier to go through a bunch at a time. Otherwise, I love using this sharp tool I have to make holes if I want to just do 1 or 3 without using my Dremel. And with this soft wood, it makes it so much easier to do. And now to take the bit out, you just press the button and turn it the opposite direction. And I'm just going to show you how I use the Dremel to sand the rough edges of my earrings. This is a felt tip, and they wear out pretty quickly, but I really like using them. This one's almost too worn out to use, but I try to get the most out of it. So you just turn it on the high setting and go around the edges of your earring. As you can see, there's a couple spots that are sticking out, and there are a couple of spots that are a little bit too sharp. So this is just smoothing it out and making it look more polished. After I work with clay on a tile, I always use my tissue blade to clean up the mess so I don't get any dust on the next project. This is my favorite way to use the tissue blade, and then I always save the scraps. Now this is a tool that you need to have, a roller, which I'm sure you already do have, but if you don't, you should really get one. You can use it to condition. You can use it, say if you were to put like flowers or leaves into clay, instead of using your finger to press everything in and leaving fingerprints behind, you can use the roller. So I have 2 pliers to use with jump rings. You can use one, but it's much easier to use 2. Sometimes I use my finger to open them on the opposite side, but I find it much easier and cleaner to use 2 pliers, do a gentle twist, open and close. And I don't suggest putting them in your dishwasher because, as you can see, the plier in my right hand has rust on it, and that's because I thought it was a good idea to put it in the dishwasher. And next I have a nail buffing block to sand the back of my earrings. And you can use any edge. I go with the first one or the second one and just rub it in and press lightly, and then it removes some of that shine. I like baking on tile versus putting it on paper. Some people use paper to bake so the backs of their earrings don't have shiny marks on them. But I like having my clay stick to the tile. There's less chance of air bubbles, and I like using either resin or a glaze on the earrings when they're stuck to the tile because it's much easier to apply. Okay, so this next tool is actually for opening up crabs. I forgot the technical name of it, but it's such a great tool for picking up the scrap clay if you cut too close with your cutters, like I did here with these hearts. And sometimes it's hard to get in there with your fingers, so I use this end to just pick up the pieces without affecting the hearts at all. And don't worry, this has never been used on crab. I don't even know the last time I had crab. And I use this end of it to scoop out fine little pieces of either glitter, sand, or like I had there, these little glass gold pieces. And the X-acto knife is a totally necessary tool. So you can use the X-acto knife to cut, to carve. Even back in my early days, I used it to drill holes in my earrings, which I wouldn't recommend. But it's a great tool and I use it every day. You can make your own shapes with it. I would print out a shape, cut it out, and then kind of like trace along the edges of it if you do want to do this, or you can freehand it. It's good for adding some textures to earrings as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching some of my favorite tools for working with clay that I think are essential for anyone starting out.